Hi, I'm Luan Aiken with Tagawa Gardens here in Centennial, Colorado. If you asked home vegetable gardeners if they could only plant one plant, you know what they'd say? I bet you do. I bet you can guess. It's tomatoes. Even if nobody wants to plant anything else, we always get demands for tomatoes. And indeed, here at Tagawa's, we'll probably carry maybe 100 different kinds of tomatoes for this summer's growing season. So let's take a look at what it requires to get tomatoes to work. In Colorado, yeah, they could be a little fussy, but they are still worth it. So with a few tips and tricks, we are out to improve your success rate. And that's what Tagawa's is all about, helping you be successful. So there are all kinds of tomato plants that you can choose. There's some big words that I'm going to introduce you to. You don't have to get too stuck on them because the people here at Tagawa's can help walk you through any of this. But when you're looking at tomatoes, make sure you check out that sticker. For example, this is a stupus. It likes cold weather, and it looks like this one will be ready in about 55 to 60 days. That's the time from when you plant it to when you can harvest it. That does not mean that you already have credit for about 30 growing days from the time this seed went in the ground. So make sure you keep the labels, check out how quickly the time is from planting the plant to harvest, and you'll get an idea of when those tomatoes will be ready for you. This is going to be a plant that is indeterminate. Indeterminate means it's going to go tall, it's going to put out fruit over a long period of time. Now, if you're into canning, you may want your crop to come on sooner and quicker and in a more compressed time. That will be an indeterminate tomato. Again, don't get too stuck on these terms because the people here at Tagawa's will be happy to help you out. We also label all of our tomatoes with all kinds of growing information, what the fruit size will be like, how long it takes to get to maturity. Obviously, tomatoes are going to need 6 to 8 hours of direct sun, but we are here to help you succeed. So we try to give you lots of information before you even walk out this door with your first tomato plant. So let's plant a tomato. This may be a technique you haven't seen before, but it can absolutely help increase your odds of success. So I'm going to pick this nice tomato. We're going to ease it out of its package. You need to water them really well before you start your tomato planting because that will make it easier on them and on you. What did she do? I just took off a couple of the bottom branches, the little side branches, and this is where it gets just a little bit interesting. Don't need these, all right? We're going to loosen the root system, and these techniques would apply whether you were planting in your garden or in a container as we're doing here. If you want to grow tomatoes in containers, that's perfectly fine. One tomato per a big 16-inch container, and you should be good. So do we plant it in like this? We're going to lay it on its side. We're going to make a trough in our container or in your garden bed, whichever you prefer. Move some of this nice light soil out of the way. By the way, this is root soil. It's one of our favorite soils. You really don't want to reuse your container garden soil because of diseases and insects. So Roots is one of our favorite brands. We sell a lot of it here and we can't say enough good things about it. So this nice tomato, loosen the roots. We're going to plant it down in a trough. Lay down the tomato, and all of those places where we had leaves are now going to become roots. So you're going to have a big, robust root system helping out this tomato. If you are a plant, and the tomato will eventually figure out what way up is. You might want to stake this for just a few days or a week or two until the tomato is getting that more upward growth. If you're planting in the ground or even in large containers, put the cage on when you plant. This is really important because if you don't do that, by the time you remember to do it, the tomatoes are growing and sprawling, and it's really hard to do it without a lot of damage. So, how about fertilizer, Lou? Well, let's talk about fertilizer. Chris, our tomato gardening expert, recommends fish emulsion. Fish emulsion, 1 teaspoon in a gallon of water with a foliar spray. That means you spray the foliage once a week. She swears by this stuff. She grows at altitude and gets a great tomato crop every time. You have to be a little bit careful if you're using a fertilizer that has a high first number. That's nitrogen. And we have people complain about, my tomato plants look great, but I don't have any fruit. That's a case of too much nitrogen on something that you want to flower and give fruit. There are so many choices here at Tagawa's. Let us help you out. One more tip. A wall of water. If you want to get your tomato plant started early, this amazing little invention has baffles channels, you fill it with water, you set it around your tomato plant. It creates a kind of a hot greenhouse teepee effect, and you can plant very early. In fact, it's a good idea to use these, set them up, you put a bucket down, you fill the baffles, and then you pull that bucket out and let this actually warm the soil. I planted my tomatoes last year in soil that was too cool. What did they do? They pouted, they sat there, they stared back at me for about a month before they ever started growing. They didn't die, but they didn't grow. So make sure you're planting in a nice warm soil. We are going to have so much fun at Tagawa's this spring and summer with all of the tomatoes and all of the people who want to grow tomatoes. For more tips, more gardening tips, and for our hours and location, check out our website at tagawagardens.com. Come see us at Tagawa's. We would love to help you be green and grow.